Teachers take on the province.
I think that is a priceless fight that our members are willing to take.
The battle over the notwithstanding clause. A pessimistic mood.
There's some issues with business confidence in Alberta.
Local businesses worried about rising costs. And good dog.
Titus can detect an ignitable liquid in minutes where current technology could take hours or even longer.
The animal that's doing important work for the fire department.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. The Alberta Teachers Association has announced it intends to take the province to court. It wants to challenge the province's preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause to order teachers back to work. Stephanie Thomas joins us now from Our Lady of the Rockies School. And Stephanie, the court filings that were made today have two parts.
Ian, one part is an injunction, which is asking the court to pause the Back to School Act, which is also known as Bill 2. The other part is asking the court to consider whether or not the use of the notwithstanding clause was improper and invalid. Now, Alberta's teachers were legislated back to work early last week, ending a strike that stretched over 3 weeks. Now, any job action taken by teachers would be illegal. Bill 2 also included the notwithstanding clause, a part of the charter that shields the province from court action. Now, since then, the teachers union has vowed to pursue every legal avenue available against the province. Union leaders say the teachers are fighting for everyone's rights.
We realize that this is an uphill battle and that it will cost us. But what is the price of freedoms? What is the price of having your rights stripped away? I think that is a priceless fight that our members are willing to take.
The province says it will vigorously defend its position in court. A date has been set for November 20th. Ian.
Thanks very much, Stephanie. Police in Hawaii have charged a Calgary man with first-degree sex assault of a minor he met online. Prosecutors allege 21-year-old Einrib John Pasaquin Dizon met the girl online and traveled to the island to meet up with her in person. Investigators say the man met the 14-year-old through the online game Roblox. Dizon allegedly arrived in Hawaii 2 weeks ago and met the teen at several Airbnbs. He was charged with the Class A felony earlier this week and is being held on $250,000 bail. If convicted, he could face up to 20 years in prison. And an Edmonton police officer is charged with sexual assault. In September of 2023, the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team, or ASIRT, was asked to investigate an allegation involving Constable Renzo Geronimo. The incident is alleged to have happened on duty. In addition to sexual assault, Geronimo is charged with unlawful confinement, being unlawfully in a dwelling house, and breach of trust. He appears in court in December. We have breaking news from Ottawa. Another Conservative has quit the caucus. This time, it's an MP from Alberta. Matt Genereux has been the MP for Edmonton Riverbend since 2015. In a statement, he doesn't explain why he's resigning, only that it was not an easy decision, but the right one. This is the second MP the Conservatives have lost this week. On Tuesday, an MP from Nova Scotia crossed the floor to join the Liberals. Calgary business owners are feeling pessimistic about their economic future, according to a new report. Alicia Fielberg joins us from Crescent Heights. And Alicia, what does this report say?
Ian, according to the report, about 1 in 4 local businesses are feeling anxious about the coming days, and that's the highest it's been in 2 years. Canada Chamber of Commerce worked with Statistics Canada to compile this data. Now, local businesses say that the #1 concern is cost-related obstacles. 1/3 of businesses say they are directly affected by U.S. tariffs, and that has many of them holding off on investments. About half of them are expecting more supply chain issues. And while all of these challenges affect all kinds of businesses, some of them have a tougher time weathering the storm.
The level of resilience that small businesses have is necessarily lower because they just don't have as big balance sheets. And so that does mean that impacts like tariffs have a big impact to them and their ability to plan for the future.
The Chamber says that all 3 levels of government need to work together to change this, and that's from doing things like increasing trade opportunities, streamlining regulatory processes, and making sure that labor disputes come to an end. Ian?
Thank you, Alicia. While research shows ski seasons are slowly shrinking around the globe, it appears Alberta is well positioned to weather the challenge of climate change. Environmental group Protect Our Winters held an event in Canmore today focused on the effects of climate change on mountain communities, including the impact to the ski industry. According to one speaker from the University of Waterloo, Alberta is one of the most climate resilient ski markets in the world, thanks to high elevations in the Rockies, cold weather, and dry air.
Other than Utah in North America, you're the most climate resilient. So as ski areas in California and other places struggle, that will be one of the types of tourism you'll be able to benefit from in the long term.
Protect Our Winters calls on ski hills to make sustainability a priority in their operations and infrastructure, to advocate for climate protection, and to raise awareness about the impact of climate change on winter sports. And Danielle, some of those ski hills are already open in early November, but here further east, it's much warmer.
Yes, much warmer, but we're in a La Nina pattern, and we will be in that for the entire winter. And that typically means colder and snowier, which is why some have been able to open early in the Calgary, BC area, but also we're looking at, should be a good snowfall season for this year because of La Nina. Okay. In Calgary, we're not looking at a huge snowfall, but a couple snowflakes are possible in these next 24 hours. 10 degrees is the temperature right now. We did get to 14 today. I'm not sure if you feel it in your head, that little bit of haze, that little bit of a headache from the Chinook type setup here, but that's what got us up to 14. That's why it's been a little windy. The winds are starting to calm down already for the day. Overnight, there will be a wind chill, but there shouldn't be a wind chill in the morning. 3 degrees to kick off the day, but because we're close to that freezing mark, we have freezing rain, and even snowflakes possible tomorrow morning and early afternoon. That's your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by Fifth Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit fifthavvw.com.
Thanks, Danielle. The Calgary Fire Department showed off a valuable member of the team today. Meet Titus. He's a 2-year-old American Field Labrador and the fire department's new ignitable liquid detection canine. He started training at just 8 weeks old and joined the department in March. Since then, he's helped on over 30 cases.
Where there may be a suspicion of an accelerant being used, Titus can detect an ignitable liquid in minutes where current technology could take hours or even longer. His precise detection helps confirm or rule out accelerant use, which is critical for identifying potential arson, ensuring public safety, and supporting our fire investigations team.
His handler, Brad Brooks, says Titus doesn't like baths, but has one after every visit to the scene of a fire. His favorite treats are chicken and hot dogs. People who work on the front lines of healthcare have tough jobs. Still ahead, the survey, they found burnout is a real issue among those workers. And remembering Canada's efforts to liberate Europe 80 years after the end of the war. A remembrance ceremony at the legislature today to honor those who fought for our freedom. The public service was held in the rotunda and included official remarks from the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta. The ceremony recognized the contributions of Canadian and Indigenous veterans. Dozens of Calgarians joined veterans and members of the armed forces at the Field of Crosses this morning to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War in Europe. The 80th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day happened actually in May. The field, which often hosts large gatherings remembering those we lost, marked the occasion today. The crosses along Memorial Drive symbolize Southern Alberta vets who gave their lives, many liberating Holland in the final days of the war.
Veterans Affairs Canada predicts that there's about 3,961 World War II veterans left. We have just about that many crosses. So it's almost like each one of these crosses not only represents a fallen soldier, sailor, and aircrew from Southern Alberta, but it also represents the remaining veterans of World War II in Canada.
The Field of Crosses hosts flag ceremonies at sunrise and sunset every day until the 11th. All events are open to the public. And on November 11th, CTV Calgary will bring you the Remembrance Day service from the Hangar Flight Museum on TV and online beginning at 10:30 a.m. And you know, for those outdoor Field of Crosses ceremonies, I think you want it to be a little bit chilly, but not too cold, and it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, with lots of people outdoors, part of the ceremonies. Yeah, we should be above freezing in the morning hours, and then we get to a high of 10 on that day. So that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's just chilly enough, right?
Yep.
Okay, here's the Skywatch weather cam, and we've had a stunning day today. If you can handle the wind, it has been windy, but those winds are what carried our temperatures into the teens today. Now the winds have calmed down, and as you can see, so have the temperatures. So this has been a quick drop in temperature. I'm not sure if you feel it in the head. A little bit of hazy from that Chinook setup here. We did get to 14 degrees today, and we're already down to 6. So because the winds have let up a bit, the temperature's starting to cool quickly. It's 9 in Lethbridge, 11 in Medicine Hat, 6 in Brooks at the moment. This is a look at the maximum wind gusts for today. So it was into the 60s for Medicine Hat. Brooks around that 40 mark. Up to the north, no gusts registered at the reporting stations. Over 70 for Lethbridge. That was one of the gustier spots. This corridor further to the south, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge over to Medicine Hat, 60 to 70 kilometre per hour gusts possible again tomorrow. But for us in Calgary, we will calm down with regards to the winds tomorrow. We are looking at the potential for that mixed precipitation. When you look at the atmosphere profile at this time of year and with the temperatures that we have, we're really in between -1 and +3 for tomorrow morning in the atmosphere surface and just above the surface in Calgary for tomorrow morning. That means that mixed precipitation is certainly possible because we're around that freezing mark. Here's a look at the system that's passing through Washington and passing through BC, and this is going to push in some moisture. So it's going to be heavier on the BC side, but some of it will spill over. By the time it gets here, it will be lighter, it will be more isolated. So if we get any freezing rain, it's not like it's going to collect really thick or anything like that, but we are looking at the potential for freezing rain in some isolated areas. It won't last too long, but we may have some slick spots out there. This is a look at 4:30 in the morning. Some snowflakes are possible, freezing rain possible. We may even get some rain mixed in with this. When is this system done with the city? Well, we're done with it pretty much by 4 p.m. Then this does start to clear out. And then we're looking at sunshine to kick off the weekend. But again, tomorrow, there may be some isolated spots where visibility is reduced or the sidewalks, the roads may get a little slick. Just the potential for tomorrow because of this system. 6 degrees is our high tomorrow, quite a difference from the 14 we had today. So it's a layering day once again. 7 degrees for Saturday, and then believe it or not, we bump up to the teens for Sunday and Monday. Remembrance Day, 10 degrees is the high, and for Remembrance Day ceremonies at that time, you're looking at being just above the freezing mark.
Alberta's toxic drug crisis isn't just taking lives. Healthcare experts say it's also taking a toll on those trying to save them. A new report from the Parkland Institute says frontline health workers in Alberta face burnout, violence, and shortened careers because of the rising demands of the drug toxicity crisis. The study surveyed more than 500 healthcare workers, including paramedics and emergency staff, and found many feel abandoned, undertrained, and unsupported. The report calls for more supportive housing and flexibility to let communities respond to the crisis. But some lead recovery doctors say taking an approach of involuntary compassionate intervention for patients shouldn't be overlooked.
I think it's important for healthcare workers to remember that we didn't cause the addiction. We can't cure the addiction of ourselves. We can't make somebody do well or not do well. And we can't actually control how that person's going to live their lives. But we can offer meaningful tools, meaningful supports in the future when compassionate intervention is implemented.
The province defends its recovery-oriented strategy, pointing to new recovery communities and virtual support programs. But the Parkland Institute says frontline workers need better supports and protections in facing the human cost of addiction. ChatGPT can no longer be used to get medical or legal advice. Parent company OpenAI says the chatbot can no longer be used for tailored advice that requires a license. A study led by researchers at the University of Waterloo found the bot only got 31% of open-ended medical questions entirely correct. A local group is sending the provincial government a message. Coming up, a town hall meeting focused on cleaning up abandoned oil and gas wells. Sales are on the rise at Canadian Tire. Joining me is Robert Geary, investment advisor with the Popowich-Karmali Advisory Group. And first of all, Robert, how did the markets close the day?
Yeah, there's a little bit of selling pressure today, and that's on the back of the elevated valuations we saw in some of the AI tech companies. And so I think the market's saying, hey, let's just take a little bit of profit because we've had a heck of a year to this point. So that's what I see causing a lot of the red on the screen today.
And some impressive sales figures at Canadian Tire and Sport Chek.
Yeah, so this is obviously the parent company, Canadian Tire, but yeah, one of their big, I would say, winners was Sport Chek side, and this is on the back of the last quarter, so they got the back-to-school sales on that side. But one of the highlights here in this report was the fact that their same-store sales were elevated, and it was not just the essentials, it was the discretionary, so the seasonal, some of the electronics as well, seeing a little bit of a pickup, and that's on the back of affordability question mark here at this point in time as people feel the pinch. So great news report, great report on their side. They're up 5.5% in trading today. And
DoorDash stocks failed to deliver this morning.
Yeah, you can say that. Not on the fact that people aren't flocking and using that service. Tons of people, their sales were up 27% year over year. But the problem was the fact that in their report here this morning is the fact that they want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to keep that going and to upgrade their systems for new products, new technology, new partnerships. So I think that the market said, hey, wait a second here, you know, you're kind of a tech company right now and you're still in a growth mode and you still have to spend. So maybe we'll have to do a little bit of selling, down 17% in the market today.
All right. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
MEG Energy shareholders have given their blessing to an $8.6 billion takeover by Cenovus. More than 86% of shareholders voted in favor of the deal between the two Calgary-based energy companies. The deal comes after 3 vote delays and 2 sweetened bids. Dozens of Calgarians gathered last night to call on the provincial government to step up environmental protections. The Coalition for Responsible Energy wants the Alberta government to take proper action to address growing costs of abandoned oil and gas wells. The group says their proposed plan could see industry let off the hook of paying for the cleanup of thousands of abandoned wells.
With the cleanup cost issue, we want to show people that it's ridiculous that the government is saying that essentially they don't have money to fund teachers or education. You know, teachers were just forced back to work, but they are proposing to essentially make taxpayers foot the bill for oil and gas companies' cleanup costs.
The group also opposes the province's pitch to replace the coal moratorium in the Rockies. Alberta's teachers union is taking legal action against the province. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. The union is taking the province to court over its preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause against teachers. The ATA is hoping for an injunction to pause the Back to School Act and wants the court to consider if the use of the clause is improper and invalid. Coming up at 6, we'll have reaction. Also ahead, it could take years for Jamaica to recover from Hurricane Melissa. Coming up, we'll tell you about some of the fundraisers underway here in Calgary to help those in the disaster zone. Ian.
Thank you, Tara. Canadian air travelers in the U.S. could be affected by a decision by the Federal Aviation Administration. Starting tomorrow morning, the FAA is reducing air traffic by 10% across the 40 biggest airports in the U.S. Air traffic controllers in the U.S. have been working without pay since October because of the government shutdown. Many of them have called in sick. Both Air Canada and WestJet say they're monitoring the situation. Air Canada says passengers who are connecting to domestic flights by United Airlines will be able to change or defer their flights with no fee. Kalispell, Montana has a message for Canadians. We miss you. The city has unveiled its Canadian Welcome Pass. 15 businesses there are offering special discounts for Canadian travelers on hotels, dining, retail, and museums. The Kalispell Tourism Authority says border crossings have dropped 15 to 25% this year, and credit card spending by international visitors is down 39%. Some locations in Alberta were among the warmest in the country today. Right now in Calgary, it is 6 degrees. Danielle has the details coming up. Enchant, Alberta. Sounds like a lovely place.
Yep.
It's a little hamlet kind of halfway between here and Medicine Hat. Warmest place in the country.
Right now, 15.8.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. Is this early November? I keep looking at my date and time here. It is, yeah. I mean, we're not record breaking, but it was 14 degrees as our high today. That was because of those stronger winds out of the west, which have now since died down, which is why the temperatures are cooling fast. Okay, 6 degrees is the current temperature. Tomorrow, mixed precipitation because we'll be around that freezing mark in the morning. So freezing rain, snowflakes, all of it possible. Getting up to a high of 6 in the afternoon. Things clear out for the weekend, and temperatures warm will be in the teens by Sunday. Ian?
Thanks, Danielle. The CPKC holiday train left Calgary today on its way to Montreal. Once it's in Montreal, the train will be split into two, and one will head south toward New Orleans. The second will travel to Vancouver. Both trains will make close to 200 stops in small towns and cities along the way. There's a long list of entertainers who've signed up to perform on the train's stage this year, and it's also used as a fundraiser for local food banks. The trains get a refresh every 2 years, so the light show will be different for those who've made it a Christmas tradition to see it.
We have dedicated equipment for the train, but as you can see, we're in the process of repainting some of the box cars. There's always new work that we do with the lights every year. We've added some new special effects to the stage show this year and last year to kind of bring that up a level. So again, people who've seen the train before, there's always a reason to come back and see it again because there's always something new.
The holiday train is in Calgary at the Anderson C train station on Friday, December 12th. The Bare Naked Ladies will perform. I'm sure lots of people are looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.